Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much for coming along this morning. My name's Jo Carling. I'm from TasTAFE as the Manager of Educator Capability, and our team looks after the TAE program and programs and all the skill sets that develop into the TAE. And with me, we have Kerry Hansen, who is from TASCOS, and we have Jeannie Bright, who is also from TasTAFE. So welcome along this morning, and we're going to give you some information about a fabulous opportunity for training and moving forward in the area of training in the workplace. So I'm just going to share my screen with you and let that one pop up. That should come up there very soon. Hopefully you have got that now. Yes, terrific. Okay, so this particular program is developing a workforce training culture. And as I said, today we're going to go through information about the program, what it covers, what you could expect if you joined the program, and how you can commence your entrance into the different stages of the program. So please feel free to add any questions into the chat as we go through. We'll have a look at those, and Kerry might even sort of keep me on track with questions that come up in the chat, because it sometimes gets difficult to see them when you're presenting. And so first of all, I'm going to hand over to Kerry to give us an overview from the TasCOS point of view and the Workforce Coordination Project about this particular project. Thanks, Kerry.
Thank you. I'll just wait for you to change the slide. Thank you. So I'm Kerry Hansen, a Workforce Coordination Project Senior Officer. But I'll also just start by acknowledging the Tasmanian Aboriginal people as the traditional owners of the land and the waters of this island, Lutruwita, Tasmania. I pay my respects to elders past and emerging and any Aboriginal people with us this morning. So this Workforce Coordination Project is part of the bigger Community Services Industry Plan, and it's the first funded project in the three priority areas of the industry plan. Given that workforce across aged care, disability services, education and care, childcare and social services is a real concern out there, synergies across all of those four sectors. One of the areas that was identified when designing this workforce coordination project was, while it's important to have skilled workers come in to be part of those sectors, we also need skilled and quality trainer and assessors to be providing training for people coming into those sectors. And Jo and Jeannie probably could agree that not only are we experiencing in our industry some shortages, but so are they in the vet space with trainer and assessors. So this was one way to build and develop training and assessment embedded within industry, both for people who are looking for a pathway to move forward into a training organisation such as TasTAFE, but also to keep people within the sectors, within the organisations that just have those skills and knowledge about how to support people in training, as well as new people. I think Jo and Jeannie would agree this sort of program supports that as well. This specific program has come about through many conversations, particularly with Troy Robbins, who I don't believe is on this morning, and Jo, who initially did our first round of the training and assessment certificate for qualification. We took a lot of feedback. We reflected on what worked well, what perhaps didn't work as well, where we saw some areas for continual improvement. But also we spoke to some industry peak bodies, and had some conversations with our industry peak body partners in the program. You can see their logos below on this screen, and really heard from them what they felt was needed. And this is how we've come up with this program, which has got some non-accredited and accredited components. Joe will go into all details about the program, but a really wonderful first beginning taste of what it is with training and assessing, and a great pathway to perhaps also gain the full qualification down the track. I don't think I've got any more, Joe. I think that's enough from me.
That's lovely. Thanks, Kerry, so much. Okay, so you can hear from Kerry there that this project is very much one of collaboration and of consultation with all of the industry partners, and looking and re-looking at the challenges that have come from working with your industry, and turning those into a positive, looking at the challenges that we've had in the different phases of the program. So as Kerry said, we now have a program that the key points for this new program are things like accessibility. And just making sure that it is easy to access the platforms, so the learning platforms that we have, making sure that people have timing available to access the training as well, that they're able to engage with the training without any unintended barriers to that general access. So it's certainly been a big focus of that. Making sure that we have a user-friendly platform. So we at TasTAFE have a platform for learning which is called Canvas, and it is a very user-friendly platform that students can log into. You've got access to learning materials at any time. It means that you've got access to, to submit things at any time of the day or night. You don't have to physically hand things into people at a campus. It's all very electronic. So a user-friendly platform is really important. In ensuring that we've got support and resources that really continue to grow the learning in the workforce, and so making sure that that's available post completion as well, so that people can actually demonstrate their skills in the workplace, and encourage that continuous learning and continuous training with the employer's support there. And one of the big components, of course, is that quality assurance, that compliance and accreditation. And so this program needs to meet the industry standards, and we need to make sure that if we're developing trainers who are going to work in industry, that they have the qualifications and the currency already in the spaces that they're going to train, but also that they have teaching, learning and assessment compliance and understand accreditation in that space as well. So we're meeting all of the requirements of the vocational sector and the community services sector as well. So a lot of things have gone into this, and the planning, we think that we've come up with a program that is quite user-friendly and it gives people options for different pathways. So the actual target outcomes of this particular program are quite simple. They're to improve the focus in the workplace, so to improve practices, to improve the industry, create career development and progression for existing employees, keep retention of corporate knowledge. When you lose lots of people, especially people who have been in your organisations for long periods of time, there is a void of corporate knowledge and general expertise that is held by experienced staff members. It also creates confidence. So one of the big things that we notice when people have been able to do training that's relevant to their workplace and that they can put into practice immediately is their confidence level goes up. When their confidence level goes up, their skills go up, and the general culture of the workplace improves as well. So that's always a big one. Obviously, more staff, more skilled staff in the workplace is a big one. And when you've got training trainees coming into the workplace, having people able and confident to train and mentor in that space and feeling good about that is a great thing to assist their learning and building their confidence to move through their own training areas as a contracted student. So improving training outcomes and retention, and looking at getting qualified people into the vet sector as trainers for industry-related qualifications. So you will all be from different areas within the sector. So some will be, sort of children's services, some will be from the community sectors in youth-related areas, maybe aged-related areas, maybe it's disability, it can be all sectors of the community services area as well. So it's a very, very broad industry, and there's a high need for good quality qualified trainers in the industry to keep it moving forward as well. So let's have a look at the program. Today we're in the first one, little green eye for information. So the program overview, and we're going to have a look at some of those features and benefits of it. The program has two non-accredited components, and we start off there with the trainer preparation program. Everybody will get enrolled in that, and this particular one will give people an opportunity to build up some of those foundational skills that will assist them move forward as we go through the training program and the pathway. We can then move to the skills sharing short course, and this might be a stop-off point for some. For some, it will be the beginning of a wonderful relationship, and they will then go through and do training right through to either finishing off a skill set or finishing off the full TAE. The main focus of this particular program is the workplace supervisor skill set. I'll go through each of these in a bit more detail in just a moment, because this is where we want people to gain skills, to develop the skills and knowledge in the workplace. And this is where the main support focuses. And then we'll have some that decide that going through to their full certificate 4 will be the pathway for them. And we do that as a staged program of staggered skill sets. So you can see that they build up and then finally getting to the final certificate, just to make it more manageable, to chunk it up and to put parameters on the learning at the time, because the TAE can be quite a hefty qualification. So let's have a look at the trainer prep program. So this is a really short course. It's one full day of face-to-face and 2 half days of synchronous online. So synchronous online means that we would be just like we are now, where you've got a facilitator, and they will be taking you through learning, and you'll be doing a range of activities so that it keeps you engaged, and it is in the online space there. But one full day of face-to-face to start off with. This particular program looks at giving you skills to return to study. Sometimes when people have been in the workplace for a while or haven't been studying in an online environment, they do need to have a few more skills developed or confidence developed. So we're looking at workplace communication, we're looking at study skills as well. The other component of this is that we will get all of the participants to undertake a short quiz that will determine their LLN levels, and that is not to dismiss anybody in any way, shape or form. It's to make sure that we put people through the right pathway for them at that time. So it is all about supporting and creating a training pathway that suits the individual for their outcome, not for anybody else's. The next component is also a non-accredited, and this particular one goes through learning how to coach and having confidence in coaching so that you can develop workplace skills, impart workplace workplace procedures, and provide constructive and supportive feedback. This is one of the things that we often find that contracted students sort of go, well, I didn't get a lot of feedback in there, but so teaching people how to do that is really, really important. And it also covers the basics of the learning process and some hot tips for how to present things well to new learners. So this particular one is a 4-hour face-to-face session, and then one small 2-hour session of a synchronous online. So it's a nice, short, snappy program. And this is for people who regularly share skills with other staff in the workplace, and those who are wanting to have some, just a few new techniques on how they might work with learners in the workplace. It's not accredited, so there's no assessment in that space. So sometimes people also don't really want to do assessment when it comes to new studies, or they may not be just ready for it. So this can be a build-up as well. Then we go into the first part that is accredited. So when we get to an accredited course, it means it's going to have entrance requirements, and we need to see that people hold currency and competency in the area they would intend to work and teach. So this means that if you've got, let's take a trainee coming in the children's services sector, that the person who was training them would need to have competency in the children's services area, and they would also need to have currency in that. So this has been determined as having 3 to 5 years experience in the area, and so working experience, and also a qualification, or if a person does not have qualification in the area to back that experience up, they need to have significant broad experience that covers quite a broad component of that particular area. So if you haven't got a qualification, it doesn't negate you from going into one of these accredited programs, but we would need to see significant broad experience in addition to just that general currency. So entrance requirements, it's part of this one is then part of the stackable skill sets to get to the TAE. And this is really about providing on-job support for new employees, especially contracts of training, covers mentoring, covers assisting learners with assessment gathering, and also develops skills in providing work skill instruction. So a nice, I think, a well-rounded skill set, and a lovely one to start off the program with. So this one has a 1-hour induction, so that we do that online, and then we go into 3 2-hour synchronous online learning sessions, and they're aligned to the different units within the skill set. There are 3 units within this skill set, and there's a 1.5-hour synchronous support session with each of those. So this would be done in the workplace, and with that support of the online learning and also support sessions there. And this particular program is for those that are working, mentoring and supervising contracted students, doing a lot of the induction training for people in your workplace. If you're working with a lot of the new staff, then this could be for you. And you might also be running some structured skills training in the workplace. And as we said, the entrance requirements apply there. Then we look at the certificate 4, and you can see, so the workplace supervisor skill set is the first of the skill sets, and then we just work up the pathway here. So this is a nationally recognised qualification. It is the new qualification that is required for vocational teachers. It came out in 22, at the very end of 22, so a lot of RTOs are still to start training in this space. So you would be very much at the beginning of that. So that's a nice positive as well. And what we do there is we have a 1-hour induction and a variety of synchronous online learning sessions aligned to each of the skill sets. So they will vary and depending on how many people we have in those as to whether we run this as a TasCOS only group, which is sometimes nice, or whether we have people going into our public courses to give more options of timing. So there are a lot of options that we can come up with in this space. Normally people take between 6 months and 18 months to do the TAE, and that would depend on their level of commitment to the work that is involved. We usually say to people that they will need to spend 10 to 12 hours a week in addition to the webinars to keep up with the workload and to work on the assessment evidence that is needed. So there is a fair commitment in that space. That would be in the time of doing those different skill sets. This one, obviously, we want people who have successfully completed the workplace supervisor skill set and those going on who show that it's a real pathway for them, that they are wanting to go down that track. Could be training managers, training practitioners, and it could be somebody who's aspiring to be working in that space. So a nice option and a nice pathway, and it all starts off with the same segmented pathway that we have. So the benefits of doing that pathway process, and Kerry alluded to that earlier, again, we've taken all the feedback, and some of the feedback in the past has been that it's too heavy a load to be working full time and trying to do it in a quick manner. So we wanted to create a nice pathway so that people feel very supported and that people have some choice over when they do things. So the benefits of that, there's a new level of enthusiasm. So we always see lots of enthusiasm in workplaces that are providing opportunities for existing staff. The increased retention and greater job satisfaction is really obvious in those places. Corporate knowledge gets dispersed throughout the organisation by multiple people. So it's not just coming from managers and supervisors, but it's actually being spread by people who now feel confident that they have the right information. A great training culture is developed, and workplaces that are known for a good training culture are often sought out by people. You're probably well aware that people now aren't looking necessarily for workplaces with the best pay, but they're actually looking for the workplaces with the best culture. And that's a phenomenon that's happened worldwide since COVID. So it's quite an interesting one. People feel a greater sense of pride when they've been able to go and do some training. Confidence levels increase, and you build all sorts of different skills, not just the skills to do work skills in the workplace, but you open up the opportunities for people to develop all sorts of new skills that they might be some different digital skills, they could be different ways of thinking as well. That includes increased capability for the sector, increased number of vet trainers. So that's always great because we know that your industry is absolutely critical and a huge employer within our state and definitely across the country as well. And the other benefit is that, there are statements of attainment and certificates of participation available for all participants at the different exit points. So that's a nice one to have and add to your CV. I'm going to hand back to Kerry now to talk about the support that's available.
Thank you, Jo. So I guess, as Jo mentioned, there's a few different components to this. The trainer preparation program that everyone will be starting in, that is a non-accredited That is funded still. However, there will need to be that support, I guess, from the workplace to release for that one-day face-to-face class and the 2 webinars. The workplace supervisor skill set, the credited skill set, is also funded. However, we'll also have an option for some backfill subsidy for an employer, given that participants are paid to do the training and covered to do the training. And their conversations I'm more than happy to have with anyone outside of this webinar or session today. But I guess really it's just we've created this program very much talking to workplaces and those who will be considering who the right people are in the workplace to do this training. We want the employers to be engaged and involved. We want to hear their feedback. This is a program that is now designed and ready to go, but that does not mean that we're not prepared to hear feedback. We understand there could be continual improvements. We haven't tried specifically this type of program before, so we're happy for those conversations and to do some tweaking along the way. But I think also just thinking about, people go out of the workplace to do training. When they come back in, you've got to think about what opportunities are being provided in the workplace to practice those new skills, to read information and to share that learning with others. TasTAFE will provide updates along the way and are more than open to be available both to participants but also to those employers of participants. And the Work Ready team, which I am part of, are also here, and I can pop my email details in as well to listen and to gather feedback. And we want this to be successful. Yeah. Anything to add there, Jo?
No, I think that covers that quite nicely. Thank you, Kerry. Does anybody have any questions? Nothing. I can see the chat now. It's nothing that's in there. Would any of you like to ask any questions? Anything burning that you are thinking about at this point in time that we haven't clarified well enough? No.
Jo, perhaps just a little bit around the timing. Jeannie, just before we got on, you were mentioning an idea of perhaps not exact dates yet, but that this is something we want to kick off here in March. Now that we're in March, yeah.
Mm.
Yes, so we're thinking of starting with the teacher preparation programs around the 19th of March. So that will be the face-to-face sessions. It will be held in the south and in different part of Tasmania, depending on the participants where they are located. And then after that, we will have the 2 online sessions separated in a few 2 weeks. Maybe not in consecutive 2 weeks, but we will look at the schedules that suits everyone. When the teacher preparation program finishes, then we will move on to the sharing skills short courses program. It will be scheduled around April or May. It may also start with the workplace supervisor skill sets around the same time. So
Thanks,
that's that's the picture of the planning.
Thanks, Jeannie. And we're also looking at running these programs multiple times this year. So it's, obviously we want to get a core group commenced at the beginning of the year. This is our first program, but looking at running what we need to get as many people through the program as we possibly can. One thing you do need is your supervisor's approval. So I'm just going to flick to the next slide, which is the QR code. So if you would like to point your phone at the QR code, it will take you to your expression of interest page. So you've already done, you registered for this session, but this will actually take you to the expression of interest. And in there, you will need to outline your supervisor so that we can make sure that they're fully supportive of you doing the program, and then that you'll get the right amount of support that's required from the workplace as well. So we'll send that QR code out to you as well. So if you don't want to do it or you can't do it now, there's no problems with that. Any questions now? That either means we've covered it well or you're just shell-shocked. One of the two.
As I've mentioned, I'm more than happy for you to contact me if you just want to ask something outside of this meeting as well, and have a conversation about what that looks like, either for yourself if you're someone here curious as a participant, or as an employer looking to invite some people to take part in this program.
Just bring us all back. Okie dokie. Well, thank you very much for coming along today. Reach out if you have questions, pass on to your friends and colleagues, and we'll hopefully see you in the expressions of interest, and look forward to getting the program underway. Thank you very much.